5 of you walked in here thinking fear would clear a path and blood would seal your name. Look around. Nobody is moving because they are scared of you. They are not moving because they are about to watch you fail. So listen close. Drop what is in your hands, turn around, and leave while your legs still work. The chair struck Kong Jun-ho like a sudden storm, slamming into his back and driving him into the edge of the table. Bowls jumped. Soup splashed onto sleeves. A sharp breath ran through the room, then vanished into silence. The second man came in low, blade sliding toward Kong's side with a clean, practiced angle. Kong twisted just enough to blunt the kill, but steel still kissed skin. His shirt ripped. Warm red spread across the white like ink sinking into paper. 5 men moved around him in a tight circle. Their steps were measured, their eyes cold, their hands steady. Not drunk, not wild, not hungry for chaos. This was a job. This was a message written in muscle and metal. The leader, lean and watchful, stood half a pace back, giving small signals with his chin, letting the others do the dirty work while he owned the moment. The restaurant was crowded and close, the air thick with heat from grills and the sweet bite of pepper. Steam drifted up from bowls, soft and harmless, yet it carried the sharp scent of fear now, like iron on the tongue. People sat stiff in their seats, frozen between shock and survival. A father pulled his child closer without a word. A couple flinched under the table. An old man's hands trembled above his rice. Nobody rose. Nobody shouted. In the city, they had learned the cost of getting involved. Kong did not shout either. He did not rush for the gun under his jacket. He knew what a single shot would do in a room packed shoulder to shoulder. He stood still, eyes narrowed, breathing slow and deep. The calm was not luck, it was discipline. He had grown up in shadows where panic got people buried. His mind slid through exits, angles, distances. He was wounded, yes, but he was not helpless. Still, 5 blades in a small room meant one slip could turn into a massacre at the edge of that ring. A waitress set down her tray. Amara Reed wore a simple black uniform with sleeves rolled neat to the elbows. Her shoes were flat, scuffed from long shifts, made for speed and quiet steps. She was the kind of worker people barely noticed until they needed a refill. Some nights she was treated with kindness. Many nights she was treated like air. She kept her head down, moved fast, and swallowed small insults the way she swallowed tiredness. Survival had taught her that staying unnoticed could feel like safety, but nothing about her. I said weak. Years before this job, before this city, Amara had worn black for another reason. A tighter suit under a heavy vest. Boots that struck the ground with purpose. A patch on her sleeve that was never shown on TV. She had served in a unit that did not exist on paper. Trained to move in silence, trained to hold steady when the world broke loud. Training mornings tasted like metal from the range. Her fingers smelled of oil and dust. The air in those rooms was always cold, even in summer, and the cold was part of the lesson. She remembered running drills until her legs became numb and then running again. She remembered bruises that faded into new bruises. She remembered the voice of her commander telling them that skill only mattered if it protected the innocent. She had joined because she was tired of being told to sit still while danger walked free. She had joined because her little brother once slept on the floor to avoid stray shots through their window. She had joined because she wanted to be the wall between harm and the people who never asked for war. She lost friends there, good friends, quiet friends who joked in the middle of nightmares just to keep spirits alive. Their faces were stitched inside her memory. Their laughter lived in her chest like a soft ache. When she left the service, she left with medals in a box and grief in her bones. She promised herself she was done with violence, done with danger, done with the way adrenaline could make time feel sharp and slow at once. So she took a job where the loudest thing she carried was a tray and a smile. Tonight, the old world walked back in on knife tips. One attacker shoved a customer aside too. Clear space, not even looking at who he hurt. That small cruelty snapped something inside Amara. The room was full of people who had done nothing wrong. Children with sticky hands, couples on simple dates, elders eating in peace. She watched their faces, watched their silence, watched the way fear spread like a shadow across their tables. Kong held his ground, refusing to reach for his weapon because he would not turn strangers into targets. That choice told Amara what kind of man he was, even if she knew his reputation. In that heartbeat, she felt an old lesson rise in her. calm and exact. Courage is not noise. It is the step you take while your body begs you to run. Amara stepped forward. At first, the diners thought she had made a mistake, a small waitress drifting into the middle of danger. But she walked with a steady weight, like a door closing, her feet planted at an angle, balanced, her shoulders relaxed. Her focus pinned the leader first, then the blades, then the gaps between them. She lifted the tray in front of her. It was not a weapon, but her grip turned it into one. The leader snapped at her to move. He looked at her like she was nothing. "Not today," Amara said, voice low, simple, final. The first knife came for her throat with a fast flick. She turned through the line, not away. The blade cut air. Her tray slammed into the attacker's wrist with a hard, clean crack. The knife fell. Before he could blink, her hand struck the side of his neck with trained precision. He dropped without drama, eyes rolling in confusion as his body forgot how to stand. Shock rippled through the room like a wave. The second attacker charged her, bigger and wilder now, swinging wide to overwhelm her. Amara dipped under his arm and pivoted, guiding his force past her. Her elbow drove into his ribs. Her heel swept his leg. He hit the floor hard, breath knocked out, face twisted in disbelief. To down in seconds. No hatred, no show, just control. Kong watched her closely. He had seen men fight for pride. He had seen women fight for survival. This was something older and colder, skill shaped by years and carried like a quiet secret. He did not understand who she was yet, but he understood what she could do. The third man hesitated. The fourth glanced toward the exit. The fifth tightened his grip, but his shoulders wavered. Their plan had depended on terror and speed, not resistance, not a calm wall. Amara did not chase. She stood between them and Kong, breathing even eyes. "Steady. You came for one man," she said, "but you will not hurt anyone else in here." The leader's pride snapped. He lunged past her, desperate to finish the job. Amara slid to meet him, trapped his knife arm, twisted it down, and pinned him into the table. The blade clattered away. She held him there, not shaking, not striking again, letting control do the talking. Kong stepped forward, blood soaking his side, voice quiet but hard. "Walk out." The attackers looked at Amara, looked at Kong. Something inside them cracked. Their plan was dead. Their courage was smaller than her silence. One by one, they backed away, dragging fear behind them like a chain, until they vanished through the door into the night. When the door shut, the room stayed frozen for another breath. Then chairs scraped. People stood slowly, like waking from a dream. A few bowed their heads, not to the boss, but to the woman who had stood in danger without asking for attention. Kang turned to Amara. His eyes were sharp, his respect real. "You saved my life." Amara nodded once. Her hands were steady, but her chest carried old echoes. "Some battles never end," she said softly. "You just learn when to step in." Kong absorbed that. In his world, loud power ruled. Tonight he saw it deeper. Kaino's silence was louder than their knives, he said. The words settled over the room like a truth everyone felt. Real strength does not ask to be seen. It shows up when it matters. Minutes later, Kong's men flooded in, suits crisp, faces cold. They saw him alive, saw two attackers down, saw the rest gone. They all looked at Amara standing calm with a tray in her hand, like it was the most normal thing in the world. Nobody asked questions. The air itself had already answered. Kong offered her money, a ride home, protection, anything she wanted. Amara refused most of it. She asked for only one thing. "Keep this place safe," she said. "For the people who come here to eat in peace." Kong gave a single nod, the kind that meant a promise. Outside, the night air cooled Amara's skin. Lights blinked above wet streets. Cars passed like distant rivers. The city looked the same as it had hours ago, but her inside felt aligned again, like a compass finding north. She had tried to live small, but some hearts are trained for storms. When storms come, they do not stay seated. The world did not change because a boss was attacked. It changed because a quiet woman refused to let fear have the last word. If this story moved you, comment where you are watching from. Share what you think about silent heroes like Amara, and subscribe for more stories that honor unseen battles and the courage that rises without warning.